Good evening and welcome to the Cheltenham Exchange for a brief festival review, a bit of a chat, discuss everything that happened last week, what caught people's eyes and so on. We've got the boss man's in the house as the only member of the team, and we've got a very special guest, long-time friend of the show, but now superstar. That is Ginger Joe. Doing us a big favour. Oh, and we've got Scotty with us as well. Scotty, how you doing, mate?
The American sniper's in.
Bonjour, bonjour.
So, yeah, Joe, thanks for coming on, mate. Really appreciate it. You've been a very busy man for the last few weeks. Well,
yeah.
I don't even need to say no doubt. It's been blatantly obvious with having seen how much stuff you've had on. How have you found it all, mate?
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, like you said, OJ, it's just you guys and me. We're always doing podcasts, but this is like the first year I've been invited to do sort of audience previews. I did some here, there, and everywhere. I did some obviously at the Cheltenham Racecourse for Odds Checker each morning and things like that. But look, really busy. But great to be part of the action at the same time. You know, it's just it's all a good experience. At the end of the day, I'm always trying to sort of grow my brand and branch out a little bit further. And look, at the end of the day, I'm very grateful that people reached out and asked me to go and attend these sort of things. So it was great to be on some panels and, amongst some really esteemed guests, I guess, as well. So, yeah, great fun, mate. Great fun. And just got that post-Cheltenham hangover now, not drink, though. It was lots of Ovaltine and food and just a bit tired now, really,
Excellent. Well, all very well deserved, I must say, mate. You deserve everything that comes your way. So
cheers, OJ.
Yes. Good to have you back on, mate. And Ian, our stalwart, on as always. Do you have a good week, eh?
Yeah, very good. As we'll discuss, it was I don't know, it was a very different festival. I think it was 9 favourites got beaten. It was just crazy, but
very different.
Yeah, still managed to have a few winners, and we'll talk about the Wednesday, which was quite emotional for everybody and what happened, but yeah. Bit of a mad week. I was shattered on the Saturday. I went to Stratford on the Monday and done the festival for the week. But yeah, poor Lauren literally sat on the sofa and I was out for the count. That was me done. But
snoring. Joe knows all about your snoring.
Oh, he knows
about that.
Poor Lauren. That's all I can say.
Oh, excellent. Good stuff, boys. Yeah, it was one to remember. Plenty of stories. So without further ado, we'll have a quick recap of what went on. We'll have a flick through day by day. So obviously last Tuesday the festival got underway with the very poignantly named Mikey O'Sullivan Supreme Novices, won by the hot favourite Kopek de Board pretty impressively. Joe, what did you make of it? Were you happy with that one to get going?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just such a good race, isn't it, to kick off the festival? It's good that we've got the Supreme as sort of like the opener. And like you said, it's just a nice touch for the racecourse to name it, the Michael O'Sullivan Supreme Novices Hurdle. Is a really good touch. And look, the right horse probably won. Kopek de Board, he was just seriously impressive and he could go on to do anything. They could keep him over hurdles if they wanted to. I think they could take him novice chasing. And then, of course, we had William Money finishing second and he was clear best of the rest. I think he was a length and a half behind. Then there was 5 lengths to Romeo Coolio and then sort of any distance you like for the rest. But again, there were a lot of question marks about William Money, to be fair. He was second at Leopardstown, then at Fairy House. Really, really keen. Barry then changed his mouthpiece to like a rubber band. And that sort of helped him settle then when he won on his penultimate start. And then again, he improved again for Cheltenham. That fast pace helped him relax. It helped him settle. And he's now going to be put away for the rest of the season and going to be sent novice chasing next year. So I was delighted, absolutely delighted. I put up Kopek for the Turners, actually, so I got the wrong race. But I did manage to get a little piece Ante-Post as well for the Supreme. So I was happy in that sense. And it was just great to see William Money run such a good race. And, it opens up a nice novice chasing career for him starting next season.
Lovely. You agreeing? You good start to the festival for you there?
Yes, that was probably my only win on the Monday. But I'll give a quick shout out to Alex Road to Cheltenham. He sent us a stat which I thought was quite interesting, and he said he made about his jumping. He made what was it, 6.9 meters going into it in the lengths, and he was up to 33 miles an hour coming up to his hurdles. He was very, very quick. I think it was one of the quick Supremes run. I think Con Hill was still the quickest, but it was definitely up there. So he had a very good performance. But I agree with what Joe said. William Money was very good, and say only like 11th behind. Bit disappointed with work ahead. I thought he'd would run a better race. I think he come last in the end, but yeah, very impressed. See where I think he's going chasing next season. So see where he ends up.
Who's that Kopeck going chasing?
Yeah.
Is he, do you think? Yeah. Nice. Yeah, it'd be brilliant. God, that could be some Arkle. I assume that's where they're going to go. Like,
yes, him and William Money and
even Coolio, isn't it? Even Romeo going that way. God,
yeah,
could be a cracking race.
Excellent. Okay, speaking of the Arkle then, Django Bay, old Madgeborough fell foul of Django Bay. Madgeborough finishing third in the end. What did you make of that, boys?
I was shocked. I couldn't believe. I know Madgeborough made a couple of mistakes at W Race Festival, but it was still very impressive. But yeah, I'm trying to think where. I think made a mistake 4 out, I think, and then he was. I'm thinking a massive mistake at the last, and just didn't run on. Well, that's a lie. He did run on because I think it was only beaten 3 3/4 lengths. But yeah, very disappointing. I've got to say, I think in our preview, Django Bay was the one I'd written off, and he ran on. You could tell he's been running over 2.5 miles and come out of nowhere and pipped only by night to the post. But yeah, very surprised.
Some finish. What do you reckon that was, Joe? Do you reckon in front that they were just pretty much dead on their feet and run themselves into the ground? Or
I don't know. I think it's just a compliment to his engine, to be honest. I just think he's a really, really good horse. It's just a shame it wasn't the last he made a mistake at, though. It was that second last, and there's always a lot of discussion about how they sort of jumped downhill on the second last, and it just cost him the race effectively. But the fact that he came back and battled so well to finish them within the length of the winner still was just, you've got to take that as a positive. He definitely needs to brush up on that jumping, but he had only had sort of 2 chase starts to date. Coming to Cheltenham, it's not easy to do, is it? Around Cheltenham as a novice, and look, he battled back well. He's got a huge engine. It's a shame that he didn't obviously get the job done. It's still it was a good performance. He's got to brush on that jumping. It's plain and simple, isn't it? But to get back to within a sort of less than a length of the winner after such a howler, he's clearly the best horse in the race over the trip, isn't he?
Excellent.
To talk of him, I know it's probably people talking with their pockets, and that was saying about him and maybe going back over hurdle. So we'll see. I don't think he will, but we'll see.
Far too soon for that, I'd say.
Yeah.
I don't know what you suggest as well, but can't go sending the back over hurdles after the one error. He's been brilliant apart from that, to be honest.
Yeah.
He was mustard at Leopardstown, and kick on with him, I'd say.
Cool. Well, talking about hurdles then, obviously, we may as well discuss the 2-in-1, Champion Hurdle and the Mayor's Hurdle. Obviously, all the talk about Lossiemouth going for the Mayor's in the end. She fairly bolstered up, I think it's fair to say. And then, of course, we had, well, what could you say about the Champion Hurdle? And then Golden Ace, as everyone was quick to point out after the race, took a chance, got to be in it to win it. And I thought she ran a lovely race anyway. I mean, Stateman seemed to pretty much have it in the bag, but I got to say at 50-1, you could give her all that credit because I don't think she'd have been too far away. I think she would certainly have been in the places personally. Richie, would he have been kicking himself about Lossie, or would he just be happy?
It's such a thing like that we can look at in hindsight, though, isn't it? And just say, well, she'd have won it. But we'd have said that if you saw Con Hill and Brighter Days Ahead fall, and then I know Brighter Days Ahead didn't fall, sorry, but make that mistake. If you stopped today, you said, well, Stateman would have won it, wouldn't you? So it's so easy to say in hindsight. But look, as we know, lads, it's jumps racing. It's called jumps racing. You've got to jump the hurdles to win the race. But who could have predicted the fact that Conhill, Stateman, and Brighter Days Ahead wouldn't have finished in the first three? It's just obscene, isn't it?
Yeah.
I suppose one thing I'd say about Conhill is he's made a few sketchy jumps, I would say, where he's sort of taken off too early and been clipping hurdles. You could say it was almost coming, that this forward was on the cards. And look, first of all, I'm glad he's obviously up and well, but he hasn't been winging everything. He's been clipping the top of a couple. When he meets him on a stride, he's dynamite, isn't he? But
it was weird. It seemed to he whether he jumped a bit too early, but Bright Days Ahead clipped the hurdle, and like the hurdle come back and hit him as he jumped and knocked. That's how it looked to me, and it knocked him over. But whether he
I saw that. I saw that on video. Someone had put that on Twitter.
Go like that and hit him.
But like John said, it looked like he jumped so early there. I'm not certain that made a big difference. I'm well, I don't know. I know nothing, but
that's 2 festivals in a row now for Golden Ace. Though she won obviously the Mayor's Novice.
Absolutely.
And I tell you what, here we go. This is something where you say you can reward bravery, because Golden Ace could have done what Lossiemouth did and went down to the Mayor's Hurdle. But fair play, they literally took the plunge and ran her in the best race, and they got rewarded for it. Whereas Lossiemouth, we can talk in hindsight all we want, we'll never know, because they didn't have the bottle to go and take the chance in the Champion Hurdle.
Well, I think in fact isn't that what happened, that she switched last minute? I think pretty much once Lossie declared in the Mares, she then took up the declaration in Champion Hurdle. I'm pretty sure that initially she declared 2 days before in the Mares, and then at about 5 to 12 she switched Champion Hurdle. So
we was keeping a check when we would normally do. We have our login and we could see. I think it was literally a minute to go. Jeremy Scott switched and put her in the.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Yeah, that's brilliant. Like, fortune favors the brave, as they say. Like I know I've said already, but as we know, gents, obviously it's jumps racing. You've got to jump to win. And she did. The rest didn't. It's plain and simple. Doesn't mean she's got the best engine, but I love that. They took the plunge and they got duly rewarded. How can anyone sort of argue against how brilliant that is?
I know she won it. Do you think Lossiemouth is better at this distance than 2 mile?
I do. I probably do believe that, yeah. I think she's good enough for 2 miles still, regardless. But I do feel, just from the performances we've seen, what she's done over 2.5 miles, she probably is better over a trip.
Excellent. She was mighty impressive. Mighty impressive. Okay. So yeah, what else did we have on day one, boys? The Ultima was the Lucinda Russell horse. Town won that.
Huge gamble, wasn't it?
Won well in the National Hunt Cup. And
put your hands together, won the Boodles as well.
That's right.
Yeah. A lot of money come for that as well.
Anything in particular with those boys?
The only thing I will say, OJ, is that as we know, Alex from the Cheltenham Exchange has been banging on about the Whistle Stop Tour for a long time. And it's interesting that so had Lucinda Russell. She'd been saying Whistle Stop Tour. But on the day, Meartown is the one that went from 20 to 1 into 13 to 2. He ended up going off favourite, and just 11 lengths, he just bolted up, didn't he? It's just sort of, it's very easy to say sort of, what happened with Cara Rambler, but she knows how to train him for this race, and it's going to be a trend going forward, isn't it? Next year, we will be talking about who's Lucinda Russell got, who's Lucinda Russell got.
She's won
you'd have probably... Sorry, Ian.
So she's won 3 out the last 4, I believe.
Yeah, Korak twice, and now Meartown.
And going by jockey bookings, obviously Patrick Wadd's on Meartown, you wouldn't.
Interesting, isn't it? Interesting.
Lovely. Okay, gents. Well, we move on to day 2, and Ballymore. What was it now? It confuses you now with it being called the
Bar in Bingham.
Bear in Bingham. And the new Lion. The new Lion. What did you make of the new Lion, lads?
He was very good. That hurt because I was in the final demand camp, and he was very good. I think final demand, I think, will probably go up in trip. Probably go, I don't know, 3 mile maybe, just a bit over. I think he probably got done. New Line was done him for pace. I think he's more of a not a plodder. That's probably not the right word, but I think he might perform better for a step up in trip. But I was quite impressed with the yellow clay as well. He ran on only beaten 3/4 on the length. He was very good, and considering I thought he would step up in trip, but yeah, Gordo proved me wrong with that one. But no, he looks a good prospect. The new line, let's talk of him. I think could be one of the favourites to the champion herd already in the betting for next year.
He surprised me a lot, the new lion, I must say. I was never, although he beat obviously my boy Wendigo, didn't he? I was still very questionable about how good he is because we hadn't seen him come off the bridle. And when he drifted from 6-4 out to 3-1, I thought the writing was on the cards then. I thought, well, that's him beat. I didn't such a lack of money for him on the day. But the yellow clay I was really impressed with as well. I backed him Ante-Post each way. I put him up on my odds checker column. Couldn't have been more delighted with the run, really. Just got beat by a horse that tapped him for a bit of toe after the last. Only a half length in it. I'd say we'll see the yellow clay and Final Demand in the Brown Advisory next year. Like you said, you've been done by a speed horse who's likely to go towards the champion hurdle now. And fair play, like JP, put his spuds on the line to put big money down to buy him. Not that the money means too much to him at the same time, but he got what he was asking for, and it's a grade 1 for Dan Skelton at the end of the day.
Yeah, brilliant. But got to give a shout out to our Graham Fletcher there as well. That was his nap at a festival on our previews.
Yeah,
picked a good in there.
That was obscene. I saw his results on Twitter. I even retweeted him as obscene results from Big G.
Yeah, he's the man. Old Fletch.
That's a shame, Joe.
Get a new contract signed up, Ian. Okay, so yeah, Brown Advisory. Next up, Ballyburn. Wow, Lecky Watson. That was a result to please the bookies, if ever there was one. I would have said.
Even looking at second and third as well, still a story at 22 second. It wasn't well favoured. I was all over Better Days Ahead here. I was really disappointed, really, just the way he didn't sort of finish out his race. He wasn't far behind, but I think with Ballyburn, you knew sort of quite early on, the writing was sort of on the cards, wasn't it? And
pulled hard, didn't they?
Yeah. Never. Why didn't they go forward on him as well? Why did they sort of sit him behind the pace? And with that sort of jumping, he couldn't afford to make any errors. Again, hindsight's a wonderful thing, but that's just how I'm looking at the race now. He's not exactly the slickest jumper, yet he let the rest go ahead of him. And as soon as he missed a couple, he was on the back foot straight away. I bet they'd like to have that go again anyway. But look, Lecky Watson was good, lads, wasn't he? And take nothing away from him. He's had a solid campaign, and he did nothing wrong and fully deserved it. He stayed. Dancing City was one I was against, to be fair. Not very tactically versatile of a horse, to be honest. I think he'd been a nailed on certainty for the National Hunt Chase of old. But look, good performance from Lecky Watson. Not really sure what to say about the others, to be honest with you. I was hopeful of Better Days Ahead being a Gold Cup horse, but chances look quite slim now, really. What
do you think? Where do you go with Ballyburn now? I mean, for me, last year, obviously over hurdles, it was the one horse, probably the main horse that I took out at the whole festival. And I know people have said he's not jumped particularly well, not particularly taken to fences, but yeah, I mean, there's always this uncertainty around the trip and stuff anyway. I mean, what do you see?
I think people thought he might have been a potential after this. It might have been a springboard to the Gold Cup, but where did they go? Surely they don't run him in the Gold Cup after that. Like for next season, I'm talking. Perhaps they did try him back over hurdles and see if perhaps he is a Stales hurdle horse. We don't know, but yeah, I was just reading the write-up. I think when he misjudged the 7th, I think he come out of his irons, and that was it. I think the writing was on the wall, and I think he was too far back. And
I don't think they'll give up on fences that quickly with him and stuff. I think they'll give it a good go. I suppose the thing to consider is that he started this year over 2 miles in the Wayward Lad against Sir Gino and got spanked, to be fair. Jumped better next time out when he was slightly stepped up and tripping. This was his first attempt at 3 miles. I think they'd want one more crack at that, let him go forward and sort of bowl along. And then again, if it doesn't work then they could possibly obviously revert to hurdles. But I think it's too early to concede just yet. But I do share the concerns like everyone else. He's got to jump better, hasn't he? If he's going to do it, it's no secret. Obviously, by Fleming's Firth, that trip he will stay the trip, but they've got to get a grasp of his jumping. But look, Willie's a master. We didn't think Jasmine DeVoe was going to be able to jump for Toffee, and he was brilliant when we'll get to that in a little while. So, yeah, I wouldn't give up on him just yet, but he's got a lot to prove now at the same time.
Lovely. Well, yeah, I mean, what else can you say? The story of day 2 and probably the story of the festival was it the, Marine National Jazzy Matty double. I mean, but we've got to go Champion Chase first. We've got the biggest Marine National fan on the planet live with us here tonight. I mean, Joe, tell us after your emotions last year, and then obviously the added sadness around it this year. I mean, how were you emotionally?
Yeah, I won't even hide it. I was in absolute floods of tears watching him come over the last. It was just obscene. Some things are just written in the stars. Like, people often have given me the amount of stick I've received about putting my neck on the line for Marine since day one. People saying he can't breathe, and I said, well, he's always had this head carriage. Don't be so silly. And they're like, oh, he definitely can't breathe. Look at how his head carriage is. And I said, if you think they're going to run this horse with so many issues, then it's a real discredit to the handler, the trainer, and everything that they are working towards. He is just incredible. I just love him. I absolutely love him. This is a horse that has given me a lot in racing. I was a huge fan when he won his bumper in Killarney. I put my neck on the line, and I haven't done this about any other horse, but on Twitter, YouTube, I said this horse will be winning that Supreme in 6-7 months' time or whatever it was. He duly got the job done, and when he obviously bombed out of DRF, people said, "Oh, he's got all of these issues," and they weren't really dissecting the reality of the situation. He only had 5 chase starts coming into the Champion Chase. He's got better every single run this season. He had his ground conditions, and again, when he won his Supreme, I reached out to Barry and said, "Look, you won't find a bigger fan of your horse than me." He invited me to the yard. I've ended up spending the summer and the winter visiting him every fortnight. So I managed to meet Marine, I managed to meet Barry, and inevitably then became really close on texting terms with Mikey O'Sullivan, who we sadly lost. And look, to see Marine do what he'd done, it was just absolute. I know I'm ranting away, but I am lost for words to just sum up the emotion of the win, the emotion of the run, and for Jazzy Matty to then go and win the following race. And it's just how do you predict something like that? How does such a story appear on in our sport and in the name? I'm even lost for words now. It's just obscene. It's such an emotional thing. Like I said, this horse has given me everything in the racing world and enabled me to get close to Barry and Mikey. We only lost Mikey three weeks ago. To see Marine go and do what he did was just unbelievable. I never lost faith in him. I've been getting all sorts of content sent to me from Marine, from Barry. I walked him around the paddock at home. I've walked in the field of him. It's just obscene. I love him so much. I really do. And I know to some people that just watch racing see them as just horses, but these are athletes trained to the nines, fit as you can get them, peak condition, and he is rapid. He's just absolutely rapid, and he's going to go to Punchestown next and run in the Champion Chase there, and hopefully he can back it up because I just love him, absolutely love him. Unbelievable horse. He's gave me everything. He really has in this.
Brilliant. And he ran a cracking race. Hats off to John Bond after that shuddering error. Ran on well in the end, but I thought, well deserved for Marine.
He was just for anyone as well. Just last thing to add, some people said, Calixios was still there. Well, Marine actually headed him just before the last. He also took off before Calixios did over the last. And then the speed figure that Marine posted from the last to the finish line is obscene and something that Calixios has never even got near before. So that was Marine just tanked up. It's just obscene, man. It's just amazing. Absolutely amazing. My favourite moment in racing of all time, without a shadow of a doubt.
Brilliant, mate. Brilliant. And then, of course, Jazzy Matty. He will take that one for the channel as well, Ian. I think all four of you.
Yeah,
boys
we all
Matty.
we've always liked Jazzy Matty, haven't we? But yeah, just him winning. I say credit to my friend Stuart. Put us. He kept saying about this double, and I think Paul Beck did as well. When he announced his naiad, he said to do the double, and yeah, it was just the sheer emotion of it all. We was cheering it on, and as Joe said, it was just like it was written in the stars. It just seemed like everybody had the double wins, or everyone was hugging each other and cheering. I was in the Tattersalls. It was just crazy. All cheered him on, and yeah, it's just as if it sounds a bit silly if he was looking down to say, yeah, this is going to happen today. But
well,
yeah,
it was, some people
I've never known nothing like it. It was crazy. Everyone was singing, and it was brilliant.
Some people believe in like fate, that things are written in the stars, and
it was fate.
I'm not one of these people, but after what's just happened, I just thought, how can this be? Like, everything has come to fruition after such an emotional time. And again, it was very nice to see that the O'Sullivans were there with Barry, and obviously Mikey's girlfriend was there with Barry, watching Marine come in, and the fact that Sean Flanagan said, Mikey is the one that made this horse. I just did the steering today. It was just incredible, absolutely incredible. Like,
brilliant. Sorry, did I lose you? I may have lost you for a brief second there.
That's all right. That's all
right. I'm back. It was absolutely fantastic. Brilliant, boys. Brilliant. Highlight of the festival. Right. So what else did we have? We had Jimmy DeSoy won the Coral Cup, Stumptown in the cross country.
Oh, Stumptown. Oh, Stumpy.
Oh, Stumpy. Good, Stumpy.
Left it late. And Bambino Fever winning the bumper.
Yes, Johnny was very hot on Bambino Fever, even from the Dublin Racing Festival. And again, Jody, very good ride. I think some of the others that were well fancy were well back. I liked Copacabana and
I was well against Bambino, wasn't I, as well?
Yeah.
To be fair. I said you can't have a mare winning a bumper against the Gowdens, but Jesus Christ, she was blooming brilliant, wasn't she? She's another, when you look at sort of the race in hindsight, she had the highest official rating with Calypso Chance with 130. Obviously, she had less weight than Calypso Chance, and she had the experience of 3 wins already. So she backed it up, and then backed it up again before coming to Cheltenham. It was just me being naive, really, and she proved me wrong, and lesson learned is what I'd say there.
Just talking about the cross country, I don't know if anybody watched it. The couple, I'm not sure if the Goffer's in the national or not, but if you watch Vanillier and the Goffer run on, they were very, very far back, and they come out of nowhere to get the places 3rd and 4th. But I would possibly take them 2 out for the national. I know Vanillier's in it. I'm not sure if the Goffer is, but
that's it.
Might be a bit too much for Stumptown, but yeah, they ran on like trains, them two.
The Goffer's always way out the back, isn't he?
Yeah.
Jesus. Right, okay. Move on to day 3. Caldwell Potter in the Jack Richards Novices.
Oh,
absolutely took it up and put them all to bed. Expensive, but yeah.
The funny thing is, I don't know if anybody watches Up in the Ante, and David Jennings gets a lot of stick, and he was banging the drum for Caldwell Potter for a long while, and everyone laughed at him. No chance, and
me included, to be honest, me included.
6.5 lengths. He was very good. And Nichols always seems to have that one winner, but no, he was must have been off a very good mark, and he was very impressive.
He would have been the last horse I backed in this race, honestly. And again, this is another. This is sort of an underlying storyline. Of course, we lost John Hales not long ago, and he owned, Caldwell. So, another story for us. It's incredible, isn't it? How it just brings up these stories about people we've lost, or there's like always an emotional connection to the winners, and it always seems to happen at Cheltenham. I wish I had a speech writ for the Marine thing a minute ago, but we've just come here off the cuff and just sort of talking about what happened. But
summed that up beautifully. But interesting you say that. The very next race, Doddy the Great won the Pertemps.
Yeah,
and again, another similar story.
I actually gave you guys a little bit of a shout out somewhere. I can't remember where, but there was a stat that was up on your show. I came on for this episode that 8 of the last 9 winners of the per temps had wore a tongue tie. It was on when you were doing the Twitter polls, and I was on with Alex and Johnny.
With Alex.
I mentioned to Steve Ryder and Andy Holden, I said, funny enough, I said, a couple of buddies of mine, I said, of the Cheltenham Exchange, I said, they showed this stat, 8 out of 9 have wore a tongue tie, and that's obscene. It really is obscene. Yeah. It's not like, because it's not like half the field wear tongue ties. It's an aid for those that are maybe having a bit of an issue, sort of being held back or a breathing issue, all sorts of stuff. So there were 3 horses that ran in it this year. There was Doddy the Great, American Sniper, who ran really well, and Maxi Mac Gold. These were the 3 that had the tongue ties out of a field of 24 runners. Yeah. And again, so that's 9 out of 10 now have wore a tongue tie. It just makes no sense, to be honest with you. Like,
yeah, quirky little thing.
I had a couple of quid on. I had originally backed Doddy the Great, but
you have to.
You do surprise me.
I done it was like a couple of minutes just before the offer, so I thought I have £2.50 each way on Doddy the Great, and he won, thank God. But he was last minute thing.
He was Hendo's nap of the festival. It's like things like that. You've got to pay attention to, haven't you? Yeah, he napped him, and you got to obviously think he had New Lambert, he had John Bond, Constitution Hill. He said Doddy the Great is my nap of the festival, and he had the favourite in this race with Jericho de Repene. It's a bit of a lesson to ourselves that something like that we need to pay more attention to, perhaps.
I backed him. I backed Doddy the Great because I've backed him every run, and simply because my sister, when she worked for the Sports Council, one of her jobs, and she'd organised a golf day, and she met Doddy way years ago, and I remember her saying that he was just the loveliest bloke, you know. So it's like, yeah,
it's amazing, isn't it?
Gotta be amazing. Yeah, right. Ryanair, Fat to File, very impressive. A lot of people speculated that this was his trip and his race.
Sorry, I would go so far as say this is probably one of the performances of the week. I thought he was outstanding. Fat to File. I hardly touched it. His jumping was brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah,
but and I'm kicking myself over Hartwood as well. I think who put him up? I think Alex put him up, but I went with Jungle Boogie, but he didn't run any sort of race. But Fat to File was outstanding.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he eyeballed Ile Francais, didn't he? Come around that home bend, and I thought, oh, here we go. Ile Francais is going to go backwards now. This has never happened to him before. Like you said, Fat to File just he's one. I did actually back him when he was at 13-2 for the Ryanair. However, I didn't actually really fancy him. I just liked the price at the time. But on the morning of the Ryanair, I said when I was doing the preview in the morning, I said it's funny how you could be against a horse all season long, yet when it comes to crunch time, your perception suddenly changes, and that's sort of what happened. Suddenly you think, Jesus Christ, he should be odds on to win this race, really. But he was dead impressive, wasn't he? What do they do now? Do you try the Gold Cup trip now, or do you stick over the Ryanair? Or
I think they'll go up now. I think next season. I think he'll go Gold Cup. Now he's done it over 2.5. I know he's done it over 2.5 last year.
Yeah,
and he's done it again. But I think now he's ready to go up. I think
because they could send like Madgeborough up to the Ryanair or something, couldn't they?
Yeah,
and then send Fat to File because obviously both JP as well. Although JP will won that champion chase, he still hasn't won it yet. You know, that's one of the only races he hasn't won. But yeah, I agree. Actually, he's probably going to go up. They're going to try it, aren't they? Try send him up and trip.
Yeah,
so they've got Ballymore stuff coming through.
I'm pretty sure watching it on ITV Racing that somebody mentioned going back to Gold Cup trip. Whether it was Mark Walsh or someone, I can't remember. But
they'll probably do the same as what they did, didn't they, this year? Like they'll go to the John Durkin again, then they'll try beat Galopan at Leopardstown, and obviously Galopan's been beat now, so they need something to come through, don't they?
Galopan will be 10. Would he be 10 years old next season?
Be 10. Yeah, it'll be 10. Yeah, next season. Well, by the time the Gold Cup comes around, anyway. Yeah.
Lovely. Big Bad Bob in the stayers, boys. We on. I didn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
Saying about 10-year-olds.
Getting back 20s into 9s. It was mad. No.
Crazy.
Didn't see that coming.
I believe
why not? when you look at the course record and
And the
3
ground
festivals
as well.
He's won 4 times, isn't he? I think 3 at the festival, and I think he's won. Oh, when was it? I think
He's
it
won
was
every
January
time.
one year. He went there and won. Beat Marie's
won
Rock.
Every time he's ran at the festival, he's won. Yeah, he's unbeaten, isn't he, at Cheltenham? It's unbelievable, really. I think the plan wasn't it, Bossman? We heard that he may well be going to the American Grand National as his final swan song, but now he's gone and won this. They might go to Aintree or Punchestown, who knows? Like, unbelievable, brilliant. See, it really was brilliant, and
it was
just another one of these.
First time he's won over 3 miles as well.
Yeah. Sometimes we worry about trip too much. If you're a good enough horse, you've got a good enough engine, you settle them well enough that they can go any trip. To be honest, Bob Ollinger could win over 2 miles. He's got speed. You know, he's remarkable. Great to see. Great to see Bob win. A shame for Gordo to have the second and third because he had a rough festival up until Wadu won, and then he had 6 winners today. Gordon, I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, saw that.
Six winners today. So yeah, great to see him win. Brilliant result for Bob.
I'm talking about racing today. We should, of course, to our Irish friends, wish them all a happy St. Patrick's Day today. We forgot that at the start. Ian.
Yeah. I'll just jump in. You know, you were saying about I think we said it quite a lot with these few days and written in the stars and fate and that sort of thing. Sadly, we lost Springmore Bay in the Jack Richards race.
Yeah,
and then if you notice later in the day, in the plate, Jaguar won. So it was like a fate thing for
Junior.
for Junior, where we had that the ill-fated spring well and then got himself back up and one on Jaguar I thought was quite impressive in the plate, where I originally thought he was in the novices race, and it must have it was a very good choice by the trainers, but no, he was very good as well.
And I think wasn't he John Joe Jr.'s first winner at the festival in 5 years or something, and then
wow
followed up.
What was his last one?
Oh God, I wouldn't have a clue.
Put it in the comments if you can get that without having to remember. Chuck that in the comments.
I'm pretty sure I could have got it totally wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what they said. It had been 5 years since he'd had a festival winner, and
that's got to be worth a Cheltenham Exchange badge to somebody who can comment that. The
Cheltenham Exchange. Well, the mad thing was he won that in the plate, and then the next day, he was on Bonnie Ross, wasn't he?
Bookies loving life after that.
What did you think of the Mayor's Novice, Joe? I thought he was too cocky on 6.5. You could see he was trying to hold on, jump in the last, and I think he was going for the cocky ride. He was trying to run on the bridle, and then thankfully I backed 6.5, but I had Aaron with entitlement as well. Like me and Johnny did, and she gave Rachel, it was her first win at the festival.
Peach of a ride, wasn't it? Yeah, it was
very, very good.
And like you said, she doubled up with Bob Ollinger on the same day for Rob Core as well. No, that was a painful one for me, to be fair. I'd been chipping away at her for a long time now. I put her up Ante-Post. I put up 8 Ante-Post selections in my odds tracker column. I think I had 6 finishing the places. So it was agonising. I did back them each way, but you want winners, really, and interesting. Yeah, Maureen had no chance, did she? As soon as the tape went up, she was facing the other way.
I don't think she had any chance.
No,
from the start of the day, she drifted out from 4 to about 12 to 1.
Yeah. As soon, isn't it mad?
If you watch the betting, if you watch the markets on that morning, she went out to. I'm sure she hit 12 to 1.
She did
about 4 the night before.
Yeah, you're right, OJ. And isn't it mad as well? Like when you look Ante-Post, she was like 3 to 1 for months and months and months.
Yeah.
Salvatore Mundi, 3 to 1 as well for months and months and months. As soon as the jockey bookings came, Salvatore Mundi went from 3s out to 14, 16 to 1. And then Maureen went from 3 to 1 up to 12 to 1. It's just like, Jesus Christ. Like, what's it?
Patrick on? Did you notice that?
Yeah, yeah, I did. It'll be interesting to see Maureen next year, because I think she will be the mare's chase horse for next year. Whereas 6.5, I don't see her actually as much of a chaser. Like she looks like she'd be a mare's hurdle horse. But interesting to see what they do with those. Yeah.
Morin went off 11-1, OJ.
Yeah, she definitely drifting madly all morning.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, day 3 nearly done. The Kimure was the last race of the day. Johnny Who got pipped by the Paul Nolan horse. What did anything take out of that race?
Last, OJ.
Yeah.
Well, they fluffed. Derek seemed a bit hesitant and just bunny hopped, and then Daily Present.
He bottled that, didn't he?
Yeah.
We've got to say he bottled that. He gave himself the win before he was at the last. He should have went at that fence. You can't give the opportunity to someone else. You've got to take it there and then. That's how I'd want my horses to be ridden, I think, to be honest. And if you fall, so be it. But he pulled him right up for a slow jump, and then he struggled to get that momentum back. You gotta wing that last. That's it. That's how I see it anyway.
Lovely. Right, on to the final day then. And yeah, we've already touched on the triumph. Poniros 100-1, written by John Joe Jr. I mean, wow. And you can't really take away when you look at the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. I mean, it was what everyone was expecting. So some performance that.
First run over hurdles in public as well.
Yeah. I think there was 3 of them in the race that had never run over hurdles. I was looking at it before.
Yeah, I think Nico was fuming, wasn't he? Because I think he said it was 11 out of 15. I think it was 15. The Mullins had 11 of them.
Did you see how he reacted with Chappers after? And he said, "Oh, you must be bitterly disappointed. We got a nice horse to go forward to." And he said, "Oh yeah, he's a lovely horse to go forward. Nice for Willie Mullins to put 11 in," and just smiled you knew what he was thinking in his head. Like I love Nico. He gets a lot of grief. Brilliant character.
But yeah, that hurt a little bit, OJ. That did hurt.
Yeah, this is another lads where, to be honest, I'd been against Hello Neighbour all blimmin' season long, and then suddenly like 3-4 days to go, and he's out to 7-1. I'm like, oh, suddenly he's the bet here. He's a good each way bet. Won the Spring Juvenile at the DRF. Is he going underestimated? But when Galileo Dane didn't run her race in the mare's Novice, I should have then thought, okay, that form isn't that strong. I messed up. Here. Not that I was going to back the winner by any means, but I still picked the wrong horse, I think, here, to be fair.
Okay. County Hurdle, Cargeezy. That's you boys. There's one for you. Want to tick off?
I was a bit nervous about that one with Lossy Mouth going into the I don't know, we was unsure where should we go originally. I think the plan, they said, was for Cargeese to go into the mare's hurdle, but then when Lossy went, I was like, that was a bit of relief. But no, he was very good on her, Mr. Townend, 11.5, but she kept on well. What was it, over 2 miles? 2 mile one?
2 mile one, I think.
She was very good.
She's such a keen going horse. She's always pulling back on the reins, so I think the fast pace of the county just let her relax and just go about it. But similar to William Money in the Supreme Look. See what I was saying there? Like he's been keen all season long, but just give him a fast pace. They can't really be keen. Just let them go and do their thing. And yeah, brilliant result. Really, really good. Because I do like Cargeese. I do. I think she's a lovely, lovely horse. She'll go chasing next year. So Mullins could have a few in that mare's chase next year, and possibly even Dino Blue, obviously, who won the Blue in next. So
who won the next? Exactly. Yeah. Finally.
I suppose the race fell apart a bit, didn't it? In the sense of like contenders, because only by night, only by night went to the Arkle. Bioluminescence didn't make it. Allegory Devassi's, she's nothing special, is she? Brides Hill, she had a lot to prove. 6-4 in hindsight. Again, saying hindsight a lot tonight, but it's a cracking price, wasn't it? She dotted it.
There was a point, a couple out, where I thought Brides Hill's coming up nicely here on the outside.
Okay.
She didn't really find anything, did she, between the last two?
Well, this is the thing. A lot of Dino Blue and Allegory Devassi, most of the wins have been over 2. I know they've rode over this distance, and then Brides Hill was ridden over this distance and not 1. So I was a bit like stumped with anything in this race. But Limerick Lace has not really been on form, but no, pleased for Dino Blue and pleased for John. He's one of her biggest fans. But it was it wasn't a race I really got stuck into. But I'm pleased she got her win.
Okay. Albert Bartlett, Jasmine DeVoe, I
Oh.
think you mentioned earlier on, did you, James?
Yeah, I mean, it's just brilliant. Like she won the. I always call her she because it's Jasmine DeVoe, you
Jasmine,
know.
Oh,
But he won the bumper last year, so he clearly stays. You know, as we've seen plenty of times, stayers win bumpers, and he wasn't actually completely fluent this time either. But he still managed to get the job done, and you could see sort of 2-3 out. You were like, oh, he's just sat there on the bridle on the outside, the nicer piece of ground. And I sort of tried to grab a piece and play before the betting was suspended. But big shout out to the Big Westerner. This is another one of my Ante-Post bets. I love this mare. I put her up at about 12-1 or 14s. Can't actually remember. She was on my Christmas bank. I just fell in love with her then. She had to break all of the trends if she was going to win here, but I gave her the benefit of the doubt because she's a half sister to Stay Away Flay, who obviously won this race a few years ago as well. Look, this is another contender here for the Mayor's Chase. Could even go to the Browns if they wanted to. So she's that good. She's good enough to compete against the boys. But of course, I had my first ever Cheltenham Festival runner here with Wendigo.
Yes.
He came fifth. If you go to the third last,
he ran a cracking race.
He did, brilliant. And the Big Westerner ran across. Well, Gav tried to be a bit sneaky at the inside, and then Gav nearly fell off. You see him; he's literally holding on to the side of Wendigo, and he would have definitely finished third. There's no question about it. Now, look, this is horse racing. This happens. It is what it is. But I'm just making a point regarding his ability. He would have definitely finished third. And when horses get into that bracket of second, third, fourth in this sort of race, who knows? Sometimes they find a little bit more too. So, undecided whether we run him again.
My dad and me were both on Wendigo, and the last text of the festival, or the last WhatsApp sent my dad, Wendigo got a nightmare run there. How many times blocked off? Because it was
the Big Western, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
It's well worth rewatching if you haven't, because
right up on the inside rail, crammed.
Yeah,
there was just nowhere to go, and
we've got a picture of Gav hanging on to the right side of Wendigo, and he only stayed on because he managed to grab the rein from the side of Wendigo's neck and come back up. Lost a couple of places and then stayed on again, but might not see him again this year. He's actually got a couple of cuts, we think, due to that incident. Nothing major, just a little bit of TLC. We'll get it sorted. But we're thinking now, because we know, the new Lion obviously won the Challow. We were second. We then ran really well in the Albert Bartlett. We've got a nice horse now to go sort of novice chasing with next year. And he ran off the same mark as the Jukebox Man when he ran in the Challow Hurdle. He then had the same mark as him, I think, going into the Albert Bartlett as well. So I think we're going to follow down that route, go and running like the KO Star Novices chase. And who knows? It's just nice to have be part of a pretty decent animal, to be honest with you. It's great stuff. So, delighted with how this race turned out.
Exciting stuff.
Fun, really. Yeah, it's good. It's good stuff.
Joe, you might know, has a horse ever won the bumper or ran in the bumper and then gone straight up to the Bartlett?
I highly doubt that. Who we had? Even if you look at like Briar Hill.
Normally go 2 miles, didn't they? Not straight up to like 3.
Relegate. Even like Moon Racer.
No.
I'd say you'd have to go back a hell of a long way to
first, isn't it, for them to win the bump and then go win the Bartlett.
There's another Cheltenham Exchange badge on offer there, I reckon, for anyone with it.
Let us know.
Don't be spending too much in. I know. Put it in the comments and we'll decide about the badges after.
Yeah. Look after that Cheltenham Exchange kitty.
I just want to say, I was quite disappointed with Wingmen and Ballymore. They were my selections, and I think they were well beaten.
Wingmen especially, because he's been solid all year, hasn't he? And he's got Cheltenham form as well. So
31 lengths beaten.
Well, interesting though, OJ, isn't it? We had 4 Willie Mullins winners up until the next.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. and then what happened? It never seemed to be running his race, did he?
Seemed to be struggling a long way out, didn't he? Paul Townend said he sort of didn't feel comfortable on him as well for a fair way. As soon as I know the way you're thinking, sort of eyeballed him, I thought, oh, Jesus Christ, it's going to happen. This is actually going to happen. It's going to happen. He's going to get beat. Couldn't believe it. Yeah. I spoke to Henry at night as well since, and I said we had her on our podcast actually discussing. I said,
Yeah,
do you actually want him to win this race, or do you not? She said, well, I'd love him to, but she was like, but I sort of want best mate to be the only one still, you know.
I
And she
remember
said
her saying
after,
that on your show.
yeah, and she said, I'd text her and say, well, there you go, best mate still the GOAT. And she said, it just shows you how hard it is to win 3. It was just,
yeah.
Is it possible, lads, that I know the way you're thinking could go on and win 3? He's only 7. Could it be like the horse after the one we thought goes on and win the 3?
But funny, we looked at on the way home. We looked at, I think Golden Miller was the last one to win a Gold Cup and a Grand National in the same year, which was, oh Christ,
Jesus,
is it
years
the
ago.
30s or the 40s? I think I might be after that, but yeah, he's the last horse to do it. But it could happen. But I don't know. It's what's it? 3 weeks till the
Not even that. I don't
national?
think. Not even
Might,
that.
it might be enough time. But
2.5 weeks, I think. Even now, it's just over 2. But he's got a real low mark considering he's won a Gold Cup now, hasn't he? Which is why he's obviously he's gone to about 5 to 2, 3 to 1 for the national, hasn't he?
That's too short, isn't it?
Surely nobody can be backing at that price.
No,
just doesn't feel right, does it? Like, what did you think, OJ, of the Gold Cup? Then we've been quiet. What do you think?
No, I got to be honest with you. I did. I'm no judge, am I? But you kind of watching it. You kind of thought he didn't quite seem to be all comfortable with it, Paul, on galloping. But I was going to say, having made that statement, he didn't seem to be travelling. I don't think you can take anything away from I know the way you're thinking, because I thought he just ran an absolutely storming race. I thought it was really, really impressive, to be honest with you. Really impressive.
For a horse like this,
did Galloping get hampered by a High Senior? I think that probably didn't help, but
he did, and he had to go wide, didn't he?
Yeah.
I saw that. I don't think it was race costing though. What do you?
No, of course not.
But for a horse that they say couldn't jump, I know the way you're thinking seemed pretty damn good to me. Like, you know, and they paid 25 grand to supplement him. He must have been showing good signs at home. I'm not saying
absolutely.
They thought. So, you
and
know,
then when he pulled him out because of the ground. So when at one point, I think that was literally that close to.
Oh my God!
Not running him.
JP has another Gold Cup winner. Epic.
Yeah.
Excellent. Right. Final couple. Anything to say on the St. James Place, boys?
It's on the line. Got beat on the line for the 3rd time in a row in the Hunter Chase. Just doesn't like passing horses, does he?
No.
Yeah, and I just remember the crowd singing Wonderwall after. That was a bit mental. Everyone's singing the Oasis song. But yeah, that was it's unfortunate. I had Angel's Dawn. I think she was well beaten, but yeah, Wonderwall, good winner. I think he won again. I think most of his point to points this season. So he's had quite a good season, but yeah, as Joe said, it's on the line, beaten again.
And as we say, everyone, you know, quite rightly, talk about Derek O'Connor, and he's been touched off on 2 there, hasn't he? He must be wondering what he's done wrong.
Both for JP as well. For JP.
Both for neck, wasn't it? I think neck or short head, yeah. Oh.
And then finally the pipe, Ian. What do? Everyone was on.
Brilliant.
You all brilliant. Put it up on the preview.
Wasn't she good? Very, very good. Was it 4.25 lengths she won? Yeah, I thought she was superb again. Probably up there, one of the performances at the festival. I don't think she made many or if any mistakes, and she ran on really well. I think Alex was saying that I think the last mare to win the pipe was Indefatigable. So stats are probably not always with mares, but no, she was very impressive.
Alex would know.
Oh yeah. I think she's one for that.
He loved that horse.
One for the mare's hurdle potentially next season, I think, if she stays hurdling.
Well, Christ, how much did she have in hand?
An emotion on Gordon Elliott's face when they interviewed him on Racing TV after. He got so choked because he obviously, I think he looked up to Martin Pipe, and he always targets this race. And it was just, and he's there so many seconds and thirds, and it was just, I was pleased for him to get that win. But no, she was very good.
Like Joe said, he'd had a tough old week up to that point, hadn't he? So
for me, Barmy, where did he go? Went off. Got absolutely smashed in the betting, finished 52 lengths.
He's gone back to France, I think.
Oh, it was just never looked. I think he led at one point. Like the first hurdles, he went off, but after that, first or second, I think he made a couple of mistakes, and that was his lot. Awful. So all that they were saying about the French weights and that might be calculated wrong, and he was well in, and just happens, doesn't it? I think it's happened a few times now with these Frenchies that come over and are well fancied, and it just doesn't happen.
Christ almighty. And I thought when he said then to come over, I thought you were going to start saying steal our jobs and let's go down that route.
Get out.
Right, gents, thank you. We're ticking towards an hour. Appreciate so much your time. So, yeah, a memorable festival, a tough one for some people, a happy one, a memorable, all sorts going on. I mean, summed up by talking to Ginge there about the champion chase, which is, I know from messaging you afterwards how emotional you were, mate. And to me, it's, heartwarming. So, go on then. What performance of the week, and have you got anything that you're already thinking I'm really keen on that for a race next year? Anything in particular?
I'm gonna give you a heart and head one. Obviously, the heart was Marie National. That was just best thing that's ever happened to me in racing. Just crazy. I won't even start because I won't stop. You all know from my emotion after the race how I felt about it. But as far as performance of the week goes, I would actually give it to Factor File in the Ryanair. That was just blew them apart, and he beat multiple previous winners in that race. Envoy Len, Protectorat. In France, everyone said was this superstar. Factor File just demolished the lot. I think brilliant performance, really good. Yeah,
lovely. Ian, same for you.
Yeah, he was impressive. I would say Wadu as well. She was impressive, but Factor File, I thought was outstanding. I agree with Joe. He was very good.
Anything you've stepped down and you think I'm getting on this for next year and nice and early?
Well, Joe might not like. I think Kopek probably has to have a shot, and William Money in the Arkle. Wadu, I would say probably for the mare's hurdle. I think she won't have any issues in that race. I don't know. Maybe the new Lion to put it up to some of these others now with Con Hill and in the champion hurdle could be a good shout as well.
I'll give you Rocky's Diamond from the Stayers Hurdle. He's a 5-year-old that ran in it this year. He might be well near the top of the tree for the race next year as a bit of a dark horse. Didn't run amazing this week, but he ran well enough to suggest, 5-year-olds shouldn't have been able to do what he's done this season. So they're only probably scratching the surface with him. And Quealy, his trainer's a really good operator. So he'd be the dark horse for me anyway for next year.
Lovely. Appreciate it, boys. It's been great chatting, great catching up. Anybody watching, we hope you enjoyed just a bit of a recap on everything last week, and appreciate you taking the time to watch us. Anything you want to comment on, get in the comments below. You may win a Cheltenham Exchange badge, depending on how many Ian's got left in his pockets. But,
you have to check the budget.
Check the budget. So, Joe, thanks ever so much for your time, mate. It's really
thanks
appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks a lot, lads. Always good being on with you. We talk all day, every day as it is, so it's always nice to put the faces to it on your podcast. Really enjoy it, lads.
We're looking forward to the Odds Checkers summer party and our invites.
Make sure you got a tuxedo ready, though, boys. You need a tuxedo.
I've got one ready.
Spot on. So thank you, gents, and we'll see you all soon.